Once again, I saw something I wasn't supposed to. I'm dejected. I'm not gonna say anything here because there's just too much noise. Just have a quiet walk all the way to Walnut Hill. I wonder if I could have put my battery in and started recording. Ever since I got bit, I got some shell shock. And that's a whole other story. I don't think that I got exposed to rabies, but I've been spending, so I spent the last 3 hours trying to get the, they call it post-exposure prophylactic rabies shot. They said, oh, call your primary care professional. So I put a ticket in on Friday, or I called them up on Friday, thinking, no, this is just routine. They'll have something on hand, or they'll figure it out. Here comes Monday, haven't heard anything. Called them up, waiting for a response. They give me a canned response via email. Don't call me back. Telling me, just go down to, we don't have it here, just go down to a pharmacy. What pharmacy? They're trying to tell me I can just go to Walgreens, CVS, and I was like, no, that's not good enough. That's the one for if you think you might get exposed. I was like, we're already past that point. Now I gotta sit here and wait. I'm gonna go to the ER tonight and see what happens. It's just trying to contact all the different people. He told me the clinic was over there off of Richardson somewhere. I'm thinking, okay, it's easy. I'll find out on the map. Nobody knows anything about it. So if you get bit by something around here and you need that immediate rabies vaccine, Dallas doesn't know how to handle it. Had I been more certain, had I not been wearing the gloves, I probably would have hopped onto the EMT and said, yeah, go ahead and take me down there and let's go ahead and get this over with. I looked at the glove looked like it wasn't penetrated. Checked it, double checked it, triple checked it. There's no puncture, but you never know. So I'm trying to get it all squared away. And I guess what's got me so dismayed or dejected is the responses I got from people. Is they didn't know what they were talking about, but they tried to sound like they knew what they were talking about instead of just admitting, look, we don't know. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Instead it's, we know, just go over here and do this. Answers with no detail that look like I said, like you're a pseudo expert. So that confirms it. They are selling this property. So this clinic is gone. This was a Primacare when I was a kid, and then it changed hands multiple times, and now it's some kind of, yeah, like I said, I guess they're gonna tear it down and put something else in here. I don't know. That's the other thing that's got me dejected. I can't find a single person around here that's building houses that's doing it the right way. On my own street, the guys put the thing in there and they got sand that was eroding from the place and it leaked all in everybody's driveways. I put a ticket in, it's like, hey, they need to clean this up. So to be snarky, they cleaned up their little area to make it look nice, I guess, for potential buyers, and then they still left the mess where we're at. So now I got to create another ticket. That's what I was noticing on Sunday. If you saw the video on Sunday, you see all of this sand all up in the driveways and all in the street. And whenever they're building all this stuff, they're supposed to be erecting barriers. They're supposed to put fences up, warning signs. And these guys ain't doing any of that stuff. They're just coming in, knocking down stuff, dust getting all over the place. They're supposed to wet down the foundation, have a truck that has non-potable water spraying down the whole area, and then knock it down to reduce the amount of dust it creates. So I walk through here and it just annoys me. That's not even trying to be a perfectionist, not even being picky. That's being practical. You don't want to be exposed to whatever dust gets kicked around when they're doing construction. You don't want your car to slip when you're sitting there trying to pull out of your driveway. I guess what I'm saying is, what's bugging me is I'm living in a half-assed neighborhood, dealing with a half-assed city. And it's understandable to me why some of the people in the groups, some of the civic groups or some of the community groups that I'm being a part of this year, or in my year of doing this, and they got one foot out the door. They can't get anybody to engage. They can't get any movement from the city. And they're looking around and they're like, why am I paying more taxes for this? And they're leaving. That's what's going to start happening in the next 5 years, is that Dallas thinks it's got everything together. And they're going to be losing a lot of people. They got on a mad spree to build all of these cheap-ass houses. And those cheap-ass houses are going to be sitting empty for a long time. I guess you could sum that up. That's Dallas. Dallas is a day late and a dollar short. Hate it so much, why don't you leave? I am researching it. Hey. Then I watched a YouTube video where the guy was sitting there, he was trying to make a grill scrubber. I'm pretty sure all y'all have gotten in your recommendation feeds as well. And the guy was on a quest, I think it was getting smarter every day or something like that, a channel. And he was on a quest to try to see if he could build something where 100% of the product was made in America. You know, made with American labor, made with American parts, built entirely in America. And this is a 2-year quest for him to try to make a grill scrubber. And it was crazy, him trying to do that. And it was like, you would sit there and he would try to source parts, and it was like, no, this was quote-unquote made in America, but from parts sourced from mostly China. And he was talking about injection molding and how that's a lost art in America. Die casting, that's a lost art in America. So when you talk about if you don't like it, you need to leave, I don't think you realize just how big the problem is. You'll go somewhere else and it might be the same or worse. I think we got a nationwide problem. And the nationwide problem is someone else will take care of it, and that someone else who takes care of it will put half an ass of effort into doing it. And that's dismaying. That's why I'm sitting here kind of quiet, where I was sitting kind of quiet at the beginning. Where do I even begin? Try to get city services. And it's almost like the city services are being provided by somebody's brother-in-law who's just trying to collect a paycheck. I guess what the depressing thing is, it seems like there's a lot of people that don't take pride in their work anymore. And in some aspects that is understandable, but when it's something vital, that's scary. He said, oh, you should have just got in the EMT thing. And I was like, yeah, I'd have been there for 12 hours. He'd have hauled me up there, and he said, well, I was like, how am I going to get back? Well, you got somebody you can call? I'm like, really? Getting penalized at work, having to rely on other people, and like I said, in the uncertainty. I said, that's all right, I can just take care of this myself later. I thought it was going to be easy. I'm a dumbass fool for thinking that. Like I said, I assumed, and I made an ass out of myself. I thought, I thought just like they said, well, I can go down to Walgreens, I'll just get that shot. And it's like, well, this shot is not if you've been bit. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, where do I do that? And so you got to call your primary care physician. Or go to the ER. I was like, okay. I was thinking about it. I was watching a video one time where they were talking about the situation so bad in Ukraine that they had a soldier that died of rabies. And I'm watching the video, and he's in the late stages. And he's trying to stand up, and he can't stand up, and he's trying to listen to the people saying he can't understand, like he just looks out of it. Like he hadn't had sleep for days. And they said, unfortunately, shortly after this was taken, he passed away. And then something had happened to where he was in a city somewhere, got bit by something, and because the idiots in Russia bombed pretty much all the infrastructure out of where he was at, he couldn't get treatment right away. And I was thinking, man, that sucks in a war-torn area. I was like, good thing I live in this nice, peaceful civilian area where I can get it right away. No. Had it been a dire situation, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not confident that I could have got it taken care of right away. Now I'm going to have doubts. So we got a new pot. We got new potholes. I tried to take pictures of this stuff, and then there's just too many assholes driving around. I was like, you know what? All you fast motherfuckers that got nowhere to go, y'all can call this in. say this though for being positive. I've been looking at my footage for the last few days, and it has been immaculate. I can say this with confidence after filming for about 5 days is the GoPro Hero 12 Black has a couple of big flaws, but image quality is not one of them, at least so far I've seen. I don't know, maybe someone will say, oh, you didn't see this, you didn't see the blurring, you didn't see the tearing. I was like, no, I'm watching cars drive down the street and I can see license plates. It's not me bouncing all up and down. Now, every once in a while, the weird thing about the image stabilization is it's like the whole world is moving up and down and I'm perfectly still. But it's still not as bad as Google was back, as the Google image stabilization from back in the day. You can see some of that in my earlier videos. So far I've been filming in 4K 60. This thing says it can do 5.3 and 5.3 plus, and I don't care about any of that. You know, I'm always behind when it comes to my filming. They had 1080p. The best you could do was 1080p 30. And I was like, that's all right, I'll just stick to 720. So my early stuff is in 720. Then they finally had 1080p 60, and I was still filming in 720. And you got the forced obsolescence, so my camera more and more, it couldn't keep up. And started overheating and conking out on me, so I was like, all right, let's get another Hero. So I got the 5 and the 7. My thing about GoPro is it's always been, they were the only game in town, number one. And number two is I'm disappointed in some things, but overall it does what I need it to do, which is all I need to do is take pictures. You know, I'll probably never have GPS overlay on these videos. I can live with that. Been doing it for 10 years, didn't need it before. You can pretty much follow along and figure out where I'm going. We got street signs. You know, the overlay I guess helps if you're like flying drones or you're biking across a big thing and you don't always have the signs if you're outdoors or something. But you pretty much know where I am in Dallas. The overheating issue is annoying, but they make up for that in the fact that I can plug in an external battery and film. I was talking to one guy, he was doing GPS, he was doing the GPS overlay on his, and he was saying on his Hero 10 he lost the ability to do that, and I hope that doesn't happen to me. He's making it sound like they did a firmware update, and then the next thing you know, he can't film with an external battery anymore. And I thought that must be a bug in how they had I guess it handled the voltage or something, I don't know. Dallas is acting like this, and I guess because they're broken. Like, I really need to take time to figure out that PDF file and run the Strong Towns budget analyzer. Maybe while the people were getting elected, that's why they were, you know, doing everything I was asking them to do. I was thinking about that the whole time. I was thinking, like, I wonder if they're being nice or they're doing all this stuff because there's an election going on. And now the guy's in and they're just like, what? You're still here? Asking for stuff? can't stop looking at this because it's sad. He's trying to teach his baby girl or sister or something how to ride a bike. And this is not just like this is a lousy area for trying to learn how to ride your bike. It's so scary and unsafe. He's got her riding on the sidewalk. These sidewalks are a mess. At least you got them. And sometimes I think having bad sidewalks is worse than having no sidewalks at all. Because it gives you a false sense of safety and security. And in reality, you get injured worse walking on a jagged, broken sidewalk than if you were just walking on some grass. Anyway. I haven't had time to catch up on anything. What I'm hating about rendering stuff in 4K is it does take. Well, I'm doing 4K, but I'm doing it in the like I said before, I'm doing it in the H.265 container, and it takes forever. I'll leave it for all night and then come back the next day, and it'll still be rendering the video. 5-hour renders, 11-hour renders, and if something goes wrong, you got to start all over again. That coupled with work getting busy, and I haven't had time to catch up on the details of my videos. I don't know if it matters if I put a description in or not. I notice that sometimes I get the same amount of views whether I put the description in or not. Like the real popular ones seem to be the real popular videos seem to be the ones when I'm going down Larga and Community. I don't know if it's the people that live there. Like I said before, I don't know if it's the people that live there that are curious as to what I'm doing, or something was swimming down there. I don't know what it was. I don't know if there's people that live there are interested, or it's just like the people around the city are like, man, that's a pretty rough area. And I'm like, is it? Mom's trying to tell me it's a rough area. And I was like, okay. It's got some edges, sure. And I wouldn't walk there at night, so I guess they're right. I'm not saying I feel safe during the day either, but at least I'm thinking I got a lot more witnesses if something really terrible happens to me. Thinking about the guy Jason from Not Just Bikes talking about breathing in the exhaust. That's all I do. One of the reasons I hate loud cars is you also smell bad enough that there's, like I said, it's like they're farting in your face. And now I get it. I get why Jason from Not Just Bikes left. Like I said, 1 year of me doing this, and you just say, you know what? I'm done. There are people that live in places where if you engage, you can change the world. And then there's most places where if you try to engage, you can change nothing, and in some cases make it worse. Watch me say all of this and get mad, and then I come over here and the signal works. Every week it's like that. I get discouraged, I get dismayed, and then something happens that kind of makes me eat my words. And I'm looking at here and I see a steel plate. I see it looks like somebody repainted, and then still broken. Maybe it's not broken. I mean, I don't know. It's not lighting up. It's not making the chirp. That's this model. It's supposed to chirp. And they put a steel plate on it that barely covers it. Well, I mean, I guess that's good enough. Like I was saying earlier, there's people, they've lost people who can machine this kind of stuff. That's my big fear. Is that maybe what happened here was they got to order a part and they don't have it in-house, and they can't make it in-house, and they can't fix it in-house. There's no electronics guy that can do that here. There's no machinist guy that can sit here and crank out something. And so they have to order the part, and the part's coming from China, and that idiot in the White House has made it to where they have to wait. We have to wait a long time to get the part now. So I'm sitting here mad at the city, and it may not be anything to do with the city. The city's like, no, Mr. Young, we have the part. Or we have to order the part, and it's taking forever for it to get to us. But the problem is, that's not what's getting put in the description field when they close my ticket. They just say refer to working colors or didn't see anything wrong. And then I jump all over somebody not knowing what the hell's going on. And it's like later on it's explained to me, oh yeah, we know all about it. We got to put it on our list. We're trying to get it fixed as soon as possible. I was like, well, you could have told me that before I, you know, came out of a bag on you here. These are the things I put in. These are the things I put in the description. Walk button still broken. But like I said, I'm 10, almost 15 days behind, 2 weeks behind. And it don't look like I'm gonna catch up. Tonight was supposed to be the night where I was going to grab my videos and just get working on them. And then I got some idiot renters. I got some idiot renters in the house that can't keep their dog in the yard. I understand now how the zombie apocalypse is going to happen. Or I understand why pandemics get as bad as they do. It's very frustrating when there's something that's, like I said, this is easy to fix, except it isn't. We know how to make the shot. We know how to mass produce the shot. We know how to get the shot out there. And yet, there's some money problems, there's some bureaucracy problems that tamp the brakes on there. It's like having a pile of bread sitting somewhere with hungry people all around, but we can't touch the bread because there was some weird arcane rule in place that said, oh, before we touch the bread, you got to fill out this form. Before you fill out this form, we got to get approval from 3 different people. And then we got to go talk to a judge about getting the bread. And all that stuff's going on. Next thing you know, you got a moldy pile of bread and dead, starving people. take a long to the 23rd power time to fix Dallas. We'll fix humanity as a species before we fix the city of Dallas. Dallas is starting to feel like a 10,000-year problem. Why did you pick this up? There's supposed to be more storms coming later on this week. And the storm drains getting clogged is bad news. So at this time I decided this was the place to apply an ounce of prevention. What pisses me off about this whole thing is I wish they had regular trash cans where I could just dump this into it. I don't know what the story is this. I don't know if this fell out of somebody's car. Someone was walking along here. The thing broke on them. They just decided this is the place we're going to dump it. I was thinking if I had brought my cart. You see that I haven't picked up trash in the last... I'm done talking. The cool thing is I can put this in that dumpster. These are both hard plastic that actually can be recycled. Want to pick it up everywhere, huh? Oh, you know. People are always talking about you need to go out and visit the world. I don't have to. The world's here. I think that's the one positive thing I can say about the Dallas is that this is like a world sample platter. here and it's like I'm in the middle of Latin America. I go to another section of Dallas, it's like I'm in West Africa. I go to another section, it's like the Middle East. I go down the street here to Harry Hines, it's like being in Korea. I don't need to go to the world's here. The world comes to me. This is still a mess. It's still gonna be a mess. No, I want to go back there, but I think there's poison ivy growing back there. Which, that would make it like I could lie. I could say, you know, there's poison ivy growing back here, and then right off the bat they would clear all this out. Because they treat that very seriously. But this stuff here is pretty nasty too. Is there an inch for poison ivy? Right there. I do believe, no, it's not. Well, it might be. No, it's not poison ivy. Well, yeah, I think it is. I could put a ticket in for that, then. They'll clear that right out. As soon as you say poison ivy, they're like, oh shit. They'd have this whole section gone. But I mean, they didn't do too bad of a job when I told them this was covering it up. And I showed them the picture and they cleared it out. Sometimes I say something and like a week later it's gone. And then other times I say something and I forget I said anything about it, and the next thing you know, they changed something. I was like, oh, somebody must have put a ticket in. I was like, yeah, motherfucker, you idiot, you put it in. I was like, oh, I forgot. There we go. Can't leave glass. Well, breaking the law, huh? I can see it too. DPD comes by, busts me on criminal trespass. What were you doing out here? And I was like, I was stupid. I was trying to throw away a glass bottle. No can liner in here. I think I'll put one in next time I'm back here. I got plenty. Make it easier on the groundskeepers. I don't understand. It's not that, I mean, how expensive? Like, you just put a 1 mil bag in there, you're fine. And you don't even want to do that. You see, this is what I'm talking about. I got an entire world, man, where people just don't want to put in the effort. Now, before I talk bad about that, what it could have happened was they had bags in there, and the local yahoos around here grabbed the bags for whatever reason. Hey! People notice you. He didn't even check. He just bolted out there. He saw the path was clear in front of him. He said, well, you know, I'm probably fast enough to beat these other people. I was like, you're not. Then I remember reading a report that, like I said, that the good majority of the people that live in this area have barely a 6th grade education. So you're talking about somebody who, they didn't even get to the algebra. They don't understand physics. They don't understand history. I think they got it figured out, but they don't realize they don't know jack shit. So how does college teach? It's different. You spend about 4, 6, 12 years in college and you realize you don't know shit. But you know who you can ask. All college is you know how you can find out. Whereas I think, and like I said, you know, all these merch people who got less. Nah, I smell like human manure. It's fertilizer or somebody shit somewhere. Anyway, less than a college degree, you think you got it all figured out. With a college degree, you probably don't know, but you have an idea where you can find out. And that's it. That's what you pay them thousands of dollars to figure out. I don't know anything. But I need to go on a quest to find out who does. Probably not a good time. It's always the same people. I think it's the same people. Fresh loss. You know, I tell anybody, man, my dad's been dead for almost 3 years now. And I was thinking about him today. I never stopped thinking about him. Some funny moments, some moment where he pissed me off. Some moment where I wish I could ask him something. So there's no getting over it. It's just, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. But when you lose something, you'll figure it out. He said, I got over that in 5 seconds flat. I was like, you're not a good liar. And you never will be. So maybe you should stop trying. That's the other thing, is that college, I will say that about college, is depending on where you went to school, it will teach you how to become a better liar. The hope is that when you go to college, you don't lie. It teaches you why you shouldn't do it. But some people, they like it like any other power, you can abuse it. The empty suit in the White House brags that he went to Wharton. That makes it look like Wharton is the center of all bullshitters and liars. Not a good look. I don't know how many ethical people there are in the Wharton School of Business, but I know its top graduate is not a good salesman. I don't know what that is in the street. Something melted in there. I think it was some garbage, and I thought I had picked that. Maybe I just picked it up. Walk signal still broken. But once again, maybe they don't have the parts. I would be really pissed if I found out that button, it's like a $5,000 button. because the specs say that it has to, and that's what I'm thinking is happening, is the guy ripped it off the thing, and the new buttons have to meet all these ADA requirements. It's got to be able to, it's got to have voice controls, and it's got to have motion control, and it's got to be IP67 68 rated. It has to be able to break away from the pole when the car hits it, so that it doesn't impale whoever's, you know, it doesn't go through their windshield or something. And so I'm thinking it's just a simple little matter of going there and put a new one in there. And the new one is made from 3 or 4 different parts from 5 different countries, and costs $5,000. And it seems like $5,000. You know what? Let's just put a bucket up there with some flags. I could do something like that. I could put some semaphores in there, and I wonder how long it'll be before some Yahoo around here just takes all the flags. They got drunk or stoned one night and thought it'd be funny to take the flags. Or they're not in the right mental state and they just like, I could use this. And I was like, you could use it for what? I don't know, but I might need it. Nobody's watching me. And they just take it. I was thinking about a scene from The Super. Great movie with Joe Pesci, and I forgot who played his dad, but his dad was like, he was a veteran actor. He was in a lot of stuff. He played, what's his name, Mr. Frischberg, the guy who owned the shop, the flower shop, and Little Shop of Horrors. Everybody had funny names. That was for comedic effect. And I was thinking about was he was talking about how you can't fix anything. These people put chicken bones in the toilet. They do this and they do that. Giving all these excuses about why it can't be done instead of just doing it. I was thinking about the line from the show. There are a million stories in the naked city. Anyway. Now this is what I can't understand. One day they got it fixed, the next day they got somebody then pulled it out again. What the hell is going on with this? Maybe I just saw something that wasn't actually there. Like they had an accident. That all bad. I think he thought I was Lamigra or something. I don't know. I was like, no, man. I ain't Lamigra. Here's my whole thing is, how many cops do you know wear pith helmets? I guess that's what gets to me, is like, how many cops are walking around with cameras strapped to their head? I think you're gonna get rabies. I haven't so far. What would be cool if they found out I had a natural immunity or something. I don't know. I don't think anybody does. The problem is that it would mean that I have some kind of neurological disorder. Because the immune system inside of the cerebral spinal fluid and all that stuff, it's isolated from the rest of your body. To the virus, it's just that's a formality. It goes across the membranes and it sits there, and it can live forever. Chickenpox does this, herpes does this, and unfortunately rabies does this. These viruses that go in there and they nest in the immune system. I mean in the nervous system. And the flaw of our nervous system was it evolved to isolate itself from everything else and be completely independent from the rest of the body, being very hard for it to penetrate the membrane and get it all this nourishment. But like I said, the viruses have no problem getting across that membrane. Now that's funny. So it took one bandit sign and covered it with another. I thought that's hilarious. That's a trip. I ain't never seen nothing like that.
Wait to cross Webb Chapel at Northwest Highway.
There's been yahoos coming the whole time. I'm just like, all right. It's getting dark now. Is it getting dark? It's getting dark. was laughing because they had that whole thing was weird. It was a bandit sign on top of a bandit sign. Bandit signs are your litmus test. They let you know how bad a neighborhood is and how bad things are going. It also lets you know how stupid the people are that live there. If the sign exists, that means people are falling prey to this, to the scams on those things. But yeah, like I was saying, all these nervous system viruses, it would mean I have a neurological disorder where I guess I'm not transmitting stuff across my membrane the right way. It would be nice to believe that I guess I have a nervous system in such a way that the virus doesn't stick to it, like the protein spikes. But really, what you don't see behind the scenes in the background. For all the stuff you can say about the city of Dallas, what you don't see in the city of Dallas is every night, I don't know if it's every night, but it's on a frequent basis, there are planes that go by and spray your neighborhood with substances that pretty much keep mosquito populations at bay. There are guys, at least I hope there are still guys, dunking plastic bottles into the sewer system and sampling the water to see what diseases are prevalent amongst the population. And where I was going with this is there are people who throw bait out in the forest and in the wooded areas where they think strays might be. And this bait has a substance, is an oral rabies vaccine. And that's what's kind of keeping the rabies at bay. What was the thing they were talking about? Chicken heads. They were taking helicopters and dumping chicken heads all across forests and stuff, and the raccoons and everything would grab these things and they'd eat the chicken heads. And the chicken heads had the vaccine, and the next thing you know, they saw the rabies rates plummet. And I hope that's not lost knowledge now. I was reading about this, but the problem was that was like programs that were way back in like the 70s and 80s. Can they do that today? Are they still doing that today? I think about how I've never had the smallpox vaccine in my life. That tells you what cohort I was born in. Health officials said, well, we pretty much, like in their hubris, we pretty much eradicated smallpox, so we don't need to keep giving out this vaccine anymore. And it was gone. Suddenly smallpox is making a comeback. We're not ready. Doesn't feel like we're ever ready. lot of people with bikes around here. You would think that would be enough to convince Dallas to put up more infrastructure in this area. I know they do studies, I know they do surveys. I know they know. Who has, like, you know, how much car ownership is going on around here. See, that's a well-behaved dog. Guy probably ain't got two nickels rubbed together, but his dog stays by his side. He out there running, trying to prove himself. That's why I called him a stupid dog. This dog was showing off. And people don't think that dogs have behavior, and it's like, my years of doing this, dogs surprised me. I didn't know that dogs could laugh. And one time I was running across the thing, and I was running with the dog. We used to play with each other. It was like he would bark at me, and I'd run around and give him something to do. And one day I tripped on the sidewalk because it was jagged sidewalk. It was right where off the villa where it is. And I looked over and I heard this weird snicker. It sounded like Muttley from Hanna-Barbera, and I was like, that dog's laughing at me. I didn't know they could do that. I've seen dogs when they get together in a group. One dog the dog's always trying to show off to the other dogs. That's why I got bit one time. And that's the feeling I got on Friday, was he heard the other dogs barking. And so he wanted to show off. He said, look, I'm free, I'm gonna get this guy. So this is an ongoing problem. It doesn't drain over here. There's always some fucking asshole coming by when I'm... There's always going to be an asshole that prevents you from getting a clear shot. I guess we'll find out later on what the how this thing films in the dark, because I'm not going to change any settings. It just, people tell me this is what you can do to get it to film in low light, and that's never been the GoPro. That's one other thing that you never like about the GoPro. That's not its strong suit. And I thought, well, maybe I'll get me a DJI action camera. And then Lewis Rosner was talking about how they make you try to register the thing before you can use it. What he failed to mention was they all do that. I got the Instant 360, it asked me to register. I got this one, it asked me to register. I thought that was crazy. Like, you can't just whip this thing out of the box and start using it. They lock up the GoPro until you connect it to the app, which was a problem because I couldn't get it to connect to the app. I had to dig out an old phone somewhere, put the quick app on it, and then finally I got it to stop being stupid. Now maybe if I call up their tech support line, they get like, yeah, just tap on the screen 8 times and then hold down after the 8th tap, and that would have like unlocked it or something. I don't know. I got a feeling that all of these companies have that, because that's what they have to do that. Like, I used to work in refurb places, and one of the things was there was some kind of like diagnostic mode you can go into and do all these things, and you had to test to see if it was working, and you don't have a registration code, you don't have an email address. I just need to see if it works. And so I probably just slipped that bad boy into diagnostic mode. Now they do something slick. They'll limit like what settings you can do. It's like you just need the bare minimum to be able to take a picture, but you can't change any settings. But truthfully, like a guy like Louis Rosman, he's smart enough, he's resourceful enough, he can build his own action camera. He can get the 3D, like they were doing, he was talking to the guy that was doing it with the chair. But he's got a shop, and he's got ideas, and he's probably got, I think he's got a 3D printer. But he can get out there and make him something with like a Raspberry Pi board, or get him a system on a chip, because that's what I was thinking about doing. And I would buy the Louis Rosman action cam. Of course, he wouldn't have to buy it. He would just say, look, I'll put the plans online for free, because I think you have the right to repair and own your own shit. And people would be building the Rosman action cam. But we can do it ourselves. It's just who has the time. You know, the only reason I own all this stuff is because I'm lazy. Maybe I need to stop being lazy.